This is the Mac and G Show.
Welcome to episode 25 of the Mac and G Show.
25.
Very excited for our guest today. He's remote and all the way on the West Coast. And I want to get into the interview right away, so I'm going to read his bio.
Let's go.
If you're ready to go.
Here we go.
Today's guest is Dillon Salva, former D1 football and basketball player, nearly drafted to the NFL, now a celebrity bodyguard for artists like Fetty Wap and Kevin Gates. But that's just the surface. He's also a rising force in the fitness world, chasing a pro card in bodybuilding, dominating strict curl competitions, and building a brand rooted in raw, real hustle. This is a story of reinvention, discipline, and defying expectations. Dillon Salva, welcome to the Mac and G Show.
Thank you
What's
guys
up?
for having me, man.
And you said you came in last night. You were in Houston, so a little tired, but we appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. So I think we'll start from the beginning. You're a Jersey kid, grew up in Jersey. How was it growing up in Jersey? How was your childhood?
Man, it was great. I'm an only child. So my dad always coached all my teams growing up. My mom was always involved as well. So it was a real sports-oriented childhood. That was really it. You know, get home from school, play sports in the neighborhood, you know, play a different sport every season. Till I realized I kind of sucked at everything outside of football and basketball. I just kind of...
Well, you play
really
everything until you find something you like, right?
Well,
that's
those
what,
are kind
right?
of
That's
the
what you
two
do.
top ones. So, what did you suck at? Like soccer or something?
Maybe hockey. Maybe hockey wasn't the sport.
Hockey really wasn't big in Jersey. I don't.
Oh, wow.
They didn't. At most schools, they don't have it. I know it's huge up in Mass, but like soccer. I was a good goalie, but it was just kind of boring standing in there. And then
That is true.
baseball, I could pitch. What's up?
No, I said that's true. It
Yeah,
is boring.
soccer was
is
always. My kids never
Yeah, you're
really
just kind
liked
of
soccer.
standing around. Same with baseball to me. Like I could pitch, but I didn't like to hit or play the outfield or anything else. So.
And you, I think one of the other reasons you were into sports is you're from a family of people that were into sports, right? Your dad did some pretty interesting things when he was younger, right?
Yeah. I mean, my whole family, like my grandfather, his dad, he was an All-American running back. He had offers to literally every single school in the country, but he chose to join the military. My uncle David, he's the all-time leading scorer in basketball at North Brunswick High School. My dad was the number one tight end in the country his senior year. He still might have a record for he had 19 catches in the first half of a game.
Wow.
That's a lot of catches.
So yeah, I think
The Patriots' whole receiving core didn't have that last year. The whole receiving
Really?
core for the
On the whole
Patriots. Yeah, they were horrible.
Yeah, they weren't good.
struggled.
And New Jersey's, I mean, there's a lot of good players from New Jersey too. So if you got records in that state, that's pretty good in football.
Yeah, I think that catch record was in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I don't know if it stands, but
So he was a tight
he
end?
he had an offer to Nebraska that year. They were number one in the country. I think their head coach is Lane Kiffin's father, Monty Kiffin.
Oh,
Wow.
I think. But yeah, and then I had my other uncle. He was a cornerback. He ran a 4.340 as a freshman and started varsity. But I think he ended up not playing. I think he only played that 1 year, and then that was it. But I think he could have been. He got offered from Penn State as a freshman.
Wow.
So yeah, sports was my entire DNA.
We call that good pedigree, I think.
Can I ask you a question? Because I think we asked
James?
No, Jack, about lifting. Did you lift when you were younger? How old were you when you started working out? Did you always lift weights?
My dad made me start in 8th grade.
Okay.
Because the goal was to make varsity as a freshman in football and basketball. So yeah, we started. He just looked up Michael Jordan's trainer and kind of found the workouts that he had him do, because it was really just about getting bigger, stronger, and faster. Mainly legs. Obviously we did everything, upper body and stuff, but going into the high school level, you got to have legs. That's like
Yeah,
number one.
so when I grew up around here, nobody did legs. So, everybody was like, bench and curl and everything.
But if you were,
if you're an athlete, I'm just saying it's funny. Like, Nautilus Plus, everyone's working out,
exactly.
and their like ankles are like this.
Right, toothpick legs.
Yeah, but you need to have a good core and good,
Yeah, so pretty good high school football team and basketball team.
So I ended up making both my freshman year. Football, I was like the third string quarterback.
Okay.
So I would just kind of get in and blowouts varsity that year. Freshman year, I only got moved up for like the last couple games for football. I don't think I got in a game as a freshman on varsity.
Were you big as a like an eighth grader going into ninth? Some kids don't grow until they're, maybe 10th, 11th. Like, were you always a like tall, big kid?
Yeah, my freshman and sophomore year, I was like 6'2".
Okay.
So it was like, not nothing crazy, but
well, that's big for a freshman, right?
I think so.
Yeah, shit.
For a freshman, yeah, but like on varsity, you look kind of, average. Basketball, though, I started JV as a freshman, and then I was a shooter at the time. So, if I went off in a JV game from the 3-point line, my coach would save me. He'd stop having me play at halftime, so I would get 2 quarters in varsity. So I think the rule was like you could play a full game of JV, and then you only get 1 quarter on varsity. So, yeah, if I had a good game, he'd move me up for that. Then my sophomore year, I started JV in football, and I was the second string quarterback. And then basketball, I started varsity at center. Then we made it to the state championship that year, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
We got our ass kicked. The team we played, their shortest starter was 6'6".
What?
Yeah, so like
they had a point guard that was 6'6".
What's up?
Their point guard was 6'6".
Yeah,
Oh my
big
God.
white kid. He went on and played at Navy.
Wow.
He was a good player. That was like, I mean, we probably lost by like 30, but it was just like, it was such a cool environment. Like everything was sold out, packed house,
That's great. And that was your senior year or junior year?
That was sophomore year.
Oh,
that was
sophomore
my first year starting varsity.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So you had good high school career, and then you're a senior, and now you're thinking about, what am I going to do next year in college? How did that play out?
It was kind of weird because after my sophomore year, I transferred to a different high school.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, like I had to sit out those 30 days because they had that rule where you couldn't just come in and play, if you were a varsity starter at another school. So, it kind of set back my recruiting a little bit, I feel.
Were you recruited as a quarterback, or because you were a tight end after that, right? So
Tight end, D end?
I didn't play tight end until my senior year.
Okay, so you went as a quarterback then, when you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I was being heavily recruited by Rutgers. I used to be able to go to like every game, sit right behind the bench with other recruits. But then when Shiano left, that was kind of it for Rutgers. They stopped recruiting me. But yeah, like when I transferred to Bishop Bar. It's called St. Thomas Aquinas now. But I feel like that kind of set me back, having to sit out a little bit. But once I got back in the flow of it, it was I had a really successful career there. Like I was, I think basketball. I don't know if I still have the school records, but I had it for blocks in a game. I had 2 games with 9 blocks.
Wow.
And 2-point field goals made in the season.
Wow. Is St. Thomas Aquinas the one when you watch ESPN and they'll have high school football games? I feel like, does St. Thomas Aquinas show up at times?
That's the one in Florida.
Oh, okay.
But my school was on that recently. Like because they're one of the best schools in the state. So They were recently on one of those televised ones.
Yep.
But yeah, then like football, my senior year was the first year I played tight end. And that's when I just started getting like all the crazy offers. I ended up like all state, I was pretty much everything except for All-American in football.
Whoa,
That's
So
great.
I had a good year. Yeah.
Did you want to switch? I mean, was it whose idea was it to switch you to tight end? That was like your coach.
All right, so my junior year, I was the starting varsity quarterback when I transferred over to Bishop R. And I hate to talk shit about a coach, but and look, like,
listen, you're amongst friends here. You can say whatever you want. Don't worry about it.
It was our first game of the year, and I sucked. Everyone sucked. Like, we lost. I think we lost that game like 62-14.
Okay.
But I threw 4 picks that game. But mind you, right, we ran a no huddle spread offense, and we had, I don't want to curse on here, so we had
You can curse. You can curse.
Oh,
Yeah.
because just thinking about it pisses me off. But we have if you run a no huddle, you have to have either signals or you yell out, or you bring someone in to say what number your play you're gonna run.
Right.
Yep.
This offensive coordinator was screaming the entire play from the sideline. And
It's not a good idea.
no, right? So I remember one play from that entire year, because it was the one play I threw all 4 picks on. It was called Silver 44 Arrow. It was 2 slants and 2 arrows from the tight ends, or the slot, a tight end and a slot. And this dude's calling it like every play. So the defense is literally yelling out slant arrow.
That doesn't work. Yeah.
No, and it's about the, at this point, I'm like holding on to the ball until the slant's pretty much a fucking post. Because I'm like, what else am I going to do? Like, I'm just going to let my guy keep going. So now I had already thrown 3 picks. This dude calls it again. The defense is yelling it. So I just called hike, and I turned and I just threw it like right to the safety, and I walked off the field. And they're all freaking out at me and shit. And I was like, "Fuck you!" Like I don't.
You should have thrown it
like,
at
you're
the
gonna yell
offensive
at me?
coordinator. You should have just thrown it at him.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
at that point, it's like if you as a grown man are gonna blame me for this shit, you should probably find like another passion or hobby, because you shouldn't be coaching varsity.
Yeah.
But after that game, when I went to practice, I was just like, I don't want to play quarterback for this team anymore. Like, that was like not even some Pop Warner shit, So if like I love the team, I'll do whatever's best for the team, but maybe if we could just switch me to like tight end and DN, so you can make someone else look like shit, that would probably be preferable. So we did that. My first game, so that was so like I played JV that Monday at my new positions, and I had a couple catches. I think I had a few sacks. I forget what I did, but I knocked someone's helmet off. I don't know if it was on a block or a tackle, but like I did something where his helmet popped off, and my coach was like, "All right, like we gotta get you on special teams and in packages now on varsity." So I eased my way back in, and then like the biggest blessing on earth was the next season, going into my senior year, we got the coach that beat us 62-14 the year prior.
Oh, he became your coach?
Yeah.
Wow.
And did he tell you, like, by the way, your other coach sucked?
Thanks for running that sparrow
he
play.
wanted me back at quarterback. He was like, I watched all your film from the scrimmages. Like, you were throwing for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns a game. Like, I don't see why you can't play it. So, but he was like, but I still want you as my starting DN, because he thought that's where I was best.
Yeah.
That's fun, right?
Yeah, DN was fun as
Yeah,
shit.
that's
that was
fun.
like, you just get to, I mean, in our defense, it really wasn't, because we ran a 3-man front. So I was getting double teamed a lot, but I still had a good year. I had like 28 TFLs and 8 sacks. Like, I had a great season. But yeah, once he came along, I was kind of battling it out for the quarterback position. And I felt like the freshman that I was battling it out with, that he had a good arm. And I'm thinking at this point, I'm like, I don't really, like, I just want to win. It's my last year. I didn't really, I knew I was going to play in college one way or the other. So I just went to his office and I was like, hey, like, if you want me at tight end and DN, because we're kind of like light there, and if I could be of better use, then let's do that. So I did that. And then after like the first, not even like scrimmage, like 7-on-7, he sent my film out. And the next day in the hallway, he was like, "Hey Salva," he's like, "You want to play in the SEC?" I was like, "Yeah, like
Yeah.
why wouldn't I?" He was like, "Well, I just got off the phone with James Franklin at Vanderbilt. Like he wants to offer you. You know, he's the Penn State coach now."
Wow.
So, right, he was like, "You just need to get." He already had my transcripts and everything because he just got off the phone with the guy. He was like, "You just got to get these 2 classes to like B's from whatever, like C minuses." And I guess being the age I was and not really caring too much about school, all I heard was like SEC. So I immediately just stopped doing anything in school. Like I just started having fun. I completely tanked my GPA. But I had Houston. The Temple coach came in during basketball season. He was like, "I'm going to come to your game tonight." He was like literally just like, do a 2-hand dunk or something in warm-ups, and you have a full ride.
Was Don Chaney the
Temple
coach? Who's the Temple coach? Like years ago.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Did they want you for D end or tight end?
Temple wanted me at the 3 tech because I was 6'5", 250, but I wasn't like really built in high school. I was just bigger. So that he was like, "Man, if we could put on like 20, 30 pounds of muscle on you throughout your career, obviously a little bit of fat too, like a 6'5", 283 tech with your athleticism would be, you know, unstoppable in our conference." So he was like, "Just like do it like dunk or some shit and warm up, show me you're athletic, and I'll offer you after the game." And at the time they were ranked. I think they were ranked in the top 10. Temple was having a great year that year. But he went to my guidance counselor after our meeting and he saw my transcripts and he was like, "Well, tell him best of luck in whatever he does because I don't think it'll be college with these grades."
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah, I had a 1.9 GPA. So it was like, I did it to myself. You know, I'm not dumb. You know, obviously I graduated college and everything with good grades, but at the time you just think about sports.
Yeah, so I guess let's switch over kind of to the college, the story of you in college, which is a couple stops. You know, finally got to Merrimack, but explain the kind of Kean and Brookdale stops before Merrimack.
I had played my high school senior all-star game there for football, the North versus South game, the Phil Simms game. So. At the time, I was committed to Monmouth University.
Okay. And
then they called me up 10 days before camp and was like, "Hey, compliance just reached out to me. Like, we have to pull your scholarship. Like, you can't come here anymore." We thought there was like a miscommunication because I did really, really good on my ACTs. So that qualified me, but I get for D1, but I guess it was something with Monmouth's, you know, however they do it, you know, it just didn't work. And they told me 10 days before camp. So I was like, shit, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's a tough
so we
spot.
started reaching out to prep schools. So in New Jersey at the time, prep schools were only allowed 2 prep players. And I was going to go to the Hun. And at the time they were allowed 4. And during that process, they changed the rules in the state to 2.
Ugh.
So I was the last guy that they were going to take because I was so late in the process. They actually dropped somebody for me. But either way, that kid would have got dropped. So, like, you know. So those rules changed. And then we were just like, I don't know what to do because, like, I turned down a preferred walk-on spot to James Madison, which was probably stupid, but it was like an ego thing. I just, you know, they were going to offer me and I messed up. But I had played in that game at Kean and the facilities are amazing there. So I just figured, you know, it's close to home. I have nothing else. And I already played a game on that field. Like, it's a nice place, you know?
Yep.
So we went there. They took me. And then my freshman year, I partially tore my meniscus in my left knee. It was good enough I could have played the whole season, but I didn't want to. I'm like, this is a blessing. I get a medical red shirt. I get to save a year because my goal was always still the NFL.
Yep.
So I did that. then my redshirt freshman year, I came in. I put on like 30 pounds. I came in. I was outside linebacker. They switched me from tight end. It's my freshman year. I was at tight end, and then I started some packages, like some pass rush packages and stuff. And I had a decent year for a redshirt freshman. And then going in to my redshirt sophomore year, they switched me to D end. And then we had a scrimmage against, like, I think it was called Widener. I just remember they were ranked like top 5 in the country. It was a great school. And I had a crazy game. And I graded out like the highest grade on the entire team. I think it was like a 93% grade or something. But after that game, they switched me to 3-tech because they were like, well, we want to give this senior the starting DN spot. So this is like this is now my 4th position in like 2 years of playing. So like one is you as a player, you're never going to progress that way because you're doing something different every year.
Yep.
So I didn't do well. Like, I started off the season pretty strong. I did well at 3-tech. And then they were talking about switching me to offensive tackle the following year.
What?
And
Gonna put on a little more weight.
yeah, like and my roommate at the time was one of my best friends from high school. He was the best player on the basketball team. And he was like, bro, why? He was talking about the men's head basketball coach. He was like, bro, why? Like, aren't you turning out here? He's like, the head basketball coach just said that the football coach told him you're the highest recruit, like you're the biggest recruit out of high school in program history.
Wow.
So I'm like, I didn't even know that, but at the time it's like, well, how could I progress? You know, I'm learning something new every year that I never did. Yep. And then so I'm already like, I don't know if I want to switch to offensive tackle. Like, I don't really see like a future in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about leaving anyways, but this year I was on the basketball team too. So when football ended, I went on the basketball team because I played in the entire summer league the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
But I got kicked off the team the first day of practice.
Why?
Well, I came in I played 3-tech that year, so I put on a shit ton of weight. I didn't know anything about like fitness, supplements, dieting properly at that time in my life. So I was just eating like pizza, fries, and chicken fingers every day. So I got up to like 287.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah,
so you were almost in tackle. You were almost in tackle.
Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. I got pretty big pretty quick. So I played the year at that, and then towards the end of the year, I was probably like mid 270s after all the season. You're not lifting as hard and stuff, but so I'm fucking pretty fat. Like, I'm not in basketball shape, and I'm having a great practice though. Like, I know what I could do at that point. I'm not trying to move too quick. I'm not trying to do too much. I'd make a move and then make like a great pass. And that was pissing the coach off. He was getting annoyed that I was like having fun and like making plays, which is weird because, I was hoping you'd want me to do well. But
right.
Anyways, my fat ass, like, I ran a little too much, and I'm struggling to breathe. So I like hawk up a loogie, and like those big like dividers that hang down from the ceiling.
Yeah. In like field houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I spit on that because I was in the corner and we're scrimmaging, and I like couldn't breathe. So I just hawked it up and I spit, and like I guess at the end of practice, or he saw me talking to the trainer, and I was like, I just asked her if she wanted me to clean it up like after this play, and then the dude like freaks the fuck out and tries to fight me. Like, he wanted to fist fight on the court. He's like, he stopped practice. He was like, we could do this till one of us dies. So I started laughing. I was like, all right, like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? You're 5'6", bro. Like, and the dude's always in the weight room, like hitting the punching bag. Like, that's cool, but the bag can never hit you back. So like, that's never, you know what I mean? Like, you could be a fake tough guy in there, and you're not going to get hit back. But
and this is the head coach or an assistant coach? The
head coach.
Oh, geez. You don't want to be on that team.
I was the starting center the entire summer, like for the summer leagues, and we won a championship in one of the leagues. Like, I thought we were cool, but completely lost his shit, and then he's trying to fight me. He's like, we could fight till the death, like some weird shit. So
You just kind of hold
them
them all like this, just keep them away, right? It's like, stay back.
So at this point, you're like, I gotta get away from Kean. At this point, because you're like thinking to yourself, the football thing ain't working, the basketball's not working. Is that when you came to the conclusion?
Once I got kicked off the basketball team, I was like, all right, well, because in my mind at that point, I was like, all right, if I get moved to tackle and I do well, and I'm also playing basketball to show I could like dunk and do all this stuff, have a great D3 double career, then I will get a shot at the NFL. Like D3 guys get taken all the time. But I knew I was trying to play both sides of it, but just being a D3 tackle at my size, it wasn't going to work. And I wasn't willing to like move to guard or something in the NFL. Like that's not, you know, so I left. And then I think it was over like winter break. I went to a Monmouth basketball game with my dad and one of my best friends and his dad. Mm-hmm. And my old AAU coach who played at Rutgers with my uncle. My uncle played basketball at Rutgers.
Okay.
He was at the game and he was just kind of asking what I had been up to and stuff. And I told him I just left Kean. And he was like, I'm coaching at Brookdale. It's a junior college over here. It's like the best Division III JUCO in the country. Like they have like the most national championships, most undefeated seasons. So I was like, all right, I could take a year off of football, kind of recoup, get in good shape, and then try and get some offers. Mm-hmm. So I ended up having a great year there. We lost at the buzzer in the championship game. That sucked. That like still bothers me even thinking about it. But I made like all conference, all region, like all that stuff. I was the second leading rebounder in the entire country out of every JUCO level. So like D1, D2, D3.
Wow.
I had like a bunch of 20-20 games, 20 points, 20 rebounds. Like I really gave like everything to basketball.
Were you still a shooter at this point, or were you playing down in the post?
No, only in the post.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Did you play football too? Did you play football?
No, I don't think you didn't do football that year, right?
Football.
They didn't have football there.
Okay. So how'd you end up at Merrimack then?
Merrimack and I want to say 2 other Division II schools were the only ones that offered me to play football and basketball.
Oh, so Merrimack was D2 at that point? They weren't D1 yet?
They were supposed to be for my senior year, but they started the process late, so they were still D2. Yeah,
got it.
They actually had a good year in basketball.
Bryant.
One year they had a really good basketball year.
But 2 years ago.
2 years, and they couldn't play in the tournament because they needed one full year of not being like a year in being, because they went full D1 a few years ago, right?
So just so you know, Dillon, my son goes to Merrimack. His daughter graduated from Merrimack, and my daughter was supposed to go to Alabama, and then COVID happened, and then she's like, I ain't going down there. And she ended up going to Merrimack her freshman year before she transferred. So
you know who else went to Merrimack?
Oh,
me.
You did too. That's right. And Charlie Day. Charlie Day. Yeah. Didn't Charlie Day go there too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got a lot of Merrimack fans in the house, Dillon.
There was no D1 when I went there. That's awesome. The hockey team wasn't even D1 when I went there. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Man, when I was there, they beat Boston, and Boston was ranked number 1 in the country. That was cool.
For hockey?
Yeah.
I mean, they
were always good.
They did. No, they had good hockey.
Yeah, they were always good.
They were like bringing Canadian kids in when I was there.
So the choice to go to Merrimack was because you were going to get to play the next year, or did they redshirt you 1 year?
No, I mean, I was going in as like the guy for tight end.
Got it.
And then basketball was crazy because it was Coach Gallo's first year there too, and he played basketball at the same high school as me.
Come on.
That's cool.
And he grew up in the town over from me. I never knew it, but then he also went on to play at Merrimack, so it was kind of cool. Like,
that is cool.
Connection.
And and I know Coach Curran was the coach when you went there, and he kind of recruited my son, and I thought he was a good guy. I mean, you've somewhat explained how crazy the politics are in college football, and this position, that position, this coach, that coach. and we saw a lot of it. But Coach Curran seemed to be a guy that you could kind of trust him. He was the most honest coach, I think. And I don't know if you felt the same way, but he seemed to be a pretty honest guy.
Yeah, I mean, he changed my life. Like, I would never have a bad thing to say about Coach Curran. Honestly, like, the best thing he ever did for me that I still carry with me to this day in anything I'm doing. Like, I went in and started as a junior every game. I had a good year. It progressively got worse. I injured, like, both my hip flexors, so I wasn't really as mobile as I could have been. So I was just trying to play through that. And I struggled a little bit with the playbook because I had never been in that type of offense before. So, like, there was a couple of times where I would, like, run a pass route on a run play, and he would rip my ass in film so bad.
Wow.
But obviously, you know, I needed that. I shouldn't be running routes on run plays. But so I started the whole year, and then I had a great spring ball. Like, that's where I really learned every single play. I never messed up again the rest of my career.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got there for camp my senior year, he moved me to third string tight end. And yeah, and I saw that on the depth chart, and I was like, the fuck? So I called my dad up after practice. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to quit and just play basketball. Like, because, you know, I'm going to be like the starting center this year as a senior. So this just made me not want to be here. And my dad was like, look, just tomorrow's your first day of full pads. Just go in and fuck everybody up on your team. It's like, obviously, don't try and, like, injure anyone, but, you know, just, like, go out there and, like, hurt people. Yeah, so I went out there just pissed off at the world, and I just started killing everyone. You know, like, we had some dogs on that team, but, you know, at that point, I'm 6'5", 260. Like, if I can't smoke people, I shouldn't be out there. You know, I'd be a pussy. So I went out there and I just killed everyone, and Coach Curran was just so, like, it was almost like you could see in his mind, he was like, yeah, it worked, kind of thing. Like, it worked. Like, this motherfucker, I finally lit the fire under his ass. Like, this, you know, and I think, like, that was just something that I needed, you know, that not for football, but for literally until the day I die, is just like, you know, you could either be a pussy and bitch out of something or just take shit into your hands and have full control over it. Because, I mean, really, in most situations, you can do whatever you want, make whatever out of any situation. He gave me that opportunity, you know. It was either like, hey, you could be a backup this whole year or some shit, or you can come back and do what you're supposed to do, and, you know, here it is, your spot's back. And then the next day I have my starting spot back.
That is
so you
great.
think he did that? So he did that to light a fire under you.
He never told me, but actually, yeah, he did, because I texted him about a year and a half ago, and I was like, hey, coach, I don't know if you did this on purpose or whatever, because something had happened in my life where I had to apply that same mentality. So I just wanted to text him and tell him, like, that, you know, I appreciated that, and, you know, how much it meant to me, and if he even knew that he did that. I forget what he said, if he did it on purpose or not, but
that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So you and I share a similar friend in Jack Silva. So is that when you met Jack? Was it your senior year or after you graduated?
After I got cut the second time from the NFL, like, for good, once that was done, I met Jack. I started to work at the YMCA down the street from
Can we just backtrack for a second? Wait a minute.
No.
Can we skip the NFL?
I'm sorry.
I want to know what happened. Wait, so you took a shot with the NFL?
You had a great senior year, right? And you're getting and you're getting looks from multiple teams.
Yeah. I want to know about that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. I don't want to cut
I
want to know about the NFL.
I didn't know where the Jack thing was, so I didn't know if it was before or after that. So
we're Merrimack. So how did you transition from Merrimack? What was your next step from there?
Yeah, so I guess backtrack, I kind of skipped too. So, like, my junior year, I had a good year. I had a good year in basketball. I didn't really play much, but, you know, one of my best friends was in that position off the bench above me, and I kind of felt like it was his last year, my buddy Riley, so I didn't really want to push for but I was dominating. Like there was guys on the team going to the coach and asking him to play me and stuff more. But I had a good year. I had a lot of fun in both sports. And then after my senior year, I led the conference for tight ends in yards and touchdowns. It wasn't much. Like I was mainly a blocker, but I had a good year and I was a great blocker. So I wanted to play in the NFL. I didn't know I was getting looks. I don't think Curran wanted to tell me, but it was our last game against New Haven. We were playing at New Haven, and my uncle, he couldn't make the game from Jersey that week, so he was watching the live stream on the computer. And I burnt this dude on like a red zone post, and I caught a touchdown. And he said the announcers on the computer were like, and that's why he's getting scouted by the Patriots among other teams. Because my dad told me that after the game. Like I had no idea. And at that point, I guess there was like 18 teams scouting me, Curran said. So that was cool. At that game, I got the worst concussion of my entire life. I was like out for a month after that game, but I got it pretty early in the game. But in my mind, I was like, honestly, if I did die during this game, it's my last guaranteed one, so I'm just going to play it. That was kind of my mindset. So after that, after I recovered, I played in the National Bowl in Daytona, Florida, where I did real well. That's when I picked up the Colts, Saints, I want to say Chiefs. Couple teams started to recruit me there, new ones, and then I got invited to the College Gridiron Showcase, and that was sick, man. I had like North Carolina's starting tackle blocking next to me. The dude's like freaking 6'8", 340, and we're just burying everyone. Like we're moving like the whole side of the defense. And at Merrimack, I had great tackles. Like our O-line was amazing, but just like being that I should have went D1, I couldn't. It was kind of like, oh, like this is what I could have been doing with someone even way bigger than me. Like we were just eating people. So I did real well at that, and I had a bunch of new teams scouting me then. I think I ended up with like 24 of the teams, like pretty on me. 6 of them were like legit, like really, you know, thinking about taking me. And then I started training Coach Curran was like, hey, I really think you shouldn't play basketball this year and go train at Exceed with Shane and Sean up in it's near Shrewsbury. I forget the name of the town that Exceeds in, but that was like the best decision I ever made. Those guys are unreal. Like if there's any athletes that are going to be listening to this podcast, if you're in Massachusetts, definitely go train there. Yeah, they do high school, middle school, college. Like they were the best. And we had a couple dudes that are still playing in the NFL right now from my pro day class. But yeah, so I trained for that. I had a crazy good pro day at Holy Cross. Had a bunch of new teams scout me at that even. And then after that I went to rookie mini camp with the Redskins. They were the Redskins at the time. And then I went to OTAs with the Atlanta Falcons, and that was the last team I was with in the NFL. And then I had like offers from other leagues, but
yeah, you were telling me that the Atlanta one, there was like 3 tight ends going for one spot, and you felt like it was you and another guy that were the ones that were fighting for it, and the third guy wasn't, up to snuff, and that's the guy that got it because he like knew the coach or went to the same high school as someone. Is that what you were
the scout doing there, whatever coach was doing that final cut played like high school football with that dude's agent.
Little politics.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
So at that point, then you start being a trainer at like the Andover Y, and is that how you met Jack?
I took my last semester off at Merrimack so I could fully prep for the NFL.
Yeah.
So I just had to finish like my senior experience, which is like, a field of work you want to get into. And at the time, I didn't really know. So I just figured, I'd already been training people. So let me just do that. It's right down the street. I'll just be a trainer. And it was a fully paid thing. Like you would actually get hired and work. So that's where I met Jack at. And then, yeah, he's a good ass dude. We would just always be bullshitting and laughing while we were working.
He is a good dude.
Is that the big Y that's like right around the corner from Merrimack? Like,
yeah,
like across from like the.
You keep going. We
like
would just keep going straight, and it would be on the left.
It's right there. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's I've never.
It's a really nice one.
I've never been in there. It looks great.
And so, did you say, "Hey, Jack, teach me how to box"? So, did he do some training?
Well, he kept asking me. He's like, "Man, you could be a good boxer." So he was like always in my ear about it, and I don't think we ever even ended up doing it until like years later when I was just up in Mass.
Oh, really?
Visiting friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that Jack had something to do. So after college, after the NFL stuff, you eventually make it out to the West Coast. And you were saying that Jack had something to do with that? Like, did he connect you with someone out on the West Coast?
Yeah. So after I went up to catch a Merrimack football game and then just hang out with my friends from college that were still living up that way.
Mm-hmm.
I probably put on like my Instagram story, like the game or something. And Jack was like, "Oh, I'm at Title Boxing now, like right next to Merrimack." It was underneath that good ass restaurant we always used to eat at. I forget the name, but it was right over there. So I went and we filmed a workout and he posted it. And then somebody that owns a CBD company was like, "Hey, I'm looking to sign an athlete and like make a line under that athlete." So like Jack introduced me and then they made the whole line. I had like a coffee, a night serum, like an icy hot kind of thing. It was like 5 products of CBD with my like name on it, my nickname.
Yeah.
And then that guy had went from Boston and moved out to California years ago. So he flew me out because the chemist that made the CBD company was having a biography, like documentary style film being released about him at the Chinese Theater in downtown LA. So he was like, "I'll fly you out to this, put you up, we'll hang out, we'll go to these events, we'll get a lot of like media stuff with the product, and then, just kind of use that as like the kickstart for the branding and whatnot." So when we did that, that's when I met one of my best friends out here, Dom, because he made the website for the CBD.
Okay.
So we started to hit it off. Dom's like 3 or 4 years older than me. And then we just kept staying in contact, and he was like, "Hey bro, you should come out and like visit." He's like, "I have some people and some brands and stuff that I think you could, do something big with." So I was like, "All right, like I don't need too much of a reason to go to California. It's freaking beautiful, So we ended up doing that for a couple years where I would just come out, we would meet with people, get some business done, and then I'll go home. And then I think it was 2022.
Okay.
Like January 11th. Like it was like it had just turned 2022.
Yeah.
I had the LA Fit Expo because I'm an athlete for this company called Built. It's a like all natural fitness drink. It's like a healthy version of Gatorade.
Yeah.
And they had a big booth there, so I was going to be an athlete at the booth. And then I think it was a week or so after that, we had Rolling Loud in LA. Kevin Gates was performing.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to do that show. So I was like, all right, let me come out a week prior to the LA Fit Expo. We'll get some networking done, whatever. Then I had that. And then so I went out for 3 weeks. And then so much cool stuff started to happen. Like I met Larry Wheels. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's one of the most famous, like, complete freaks of nature in the fitness world. Like just the strongest pound for pound dude like ever.
Wow.
Holds a lot of powerlifting records, and he had signed me to his company, Team Personal Record. It's like like lifting sleeves and belts and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I got to meet him finally at the expo, and we followed each other on Instagram, and then he invited me to work out with him for his YouTube channel. And his YouTube channel is huge, like massive. This dude has millions of followers. So
Wow.
And then Jay Cutler followed me. He's a Hall of Fame, one of the best bodybuilders of all time. He's from Worcester.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I met Jay. And then I just felt like, you know, I've always wanted to really bodybuild and act. And with those things kind of starting to happen on my short trip, I felt like if I would have left, I would have always regretted it. It was like, you know, strike while the iron's hot kind of thing.
Yeah.
So my buddy Dom and Blake, they own this house in Mission Viejo. It's Orange County, beautiful, like $1.4 million house, pool, jacuzzi. So
must have been tough.
Right? Tough life.
Yeah.
So when things started to pick up, I was like, hey, like, I know you guys have been kind of hinting at, like, me staying in California. I was like, what if I just stay? You know, what if I just don't leave? I had, like, one suitcase with a bunch of clothes, so I didn't plan on moving. But, yeah, I just stayed. And then that was kind of it. You know, I just did it. And
so 2022? You've been there since 2022? Full time?
I think so. Yeah, I believe it was 2022.
Got it. So you're talking about a lot of the, you know, different brands and representing. You mentioned Kevin. Are you bodyguarding? Are you being a bodyguard at this point or no? When did that happen? When did Fetty Wap happen and how did that all happen?
When I first gotten cut from the NFL, I was just like, man, like super depressed. You know, like I completely lost my identity because it's like that was the only dream I ever had my entire life. And like every time I say that, everyone's like, oh, well, you know, you did it. It's like, yeah, that's not the point though. Like even now I'm 31, I could still be playing in the NFL. You know what I mean? So it's like my dream wasn't just to be like, oh, look at me. Like I have a picture in a uniform. Like that's corny. I wanted to play. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to keep playing football.
Yep.
So when I got cut, I was down for like months. Like I had stopped going to the gym, stopped doing like anything. I was just like, you know, not doing shit, just playing video games and being miserable and eating like Ben and Jerry's every night. Like,
you didn't get backed up to 285, did you?
Yeah, I got up to like 281.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
That because I remember when I weighed myself. That the only reason I specifically remember 281 because I was like, damn, dude, like you're. Not only are you not doing anything worth a shit, now you're just a fat like piece of shit. You know, and like that's kind of when I was like, I need something, you know, or I'm gonna, you know, so I'm gonna get like hurt. Like my physical health's just gonna go down the drain. So I started to bodybuild then. You know, I started to try and get into it. I hired a coach and this is when I was still living in Massachusetts because I lived there for 2 years after school.
Okay. In North Andover area? Like that?
Yeah, North Andover. Okay. Yeah, I was like less than 5 minutes from the school.
Okay.
So when the lease ended, I moved back to Jersey and I was still like not really doing shit, but I was like, man, I have to do something. So I just started to promote my training business again, got in really good shape. I lost like 40 pounds. In 3 months, I just went all in, dedicated to it. And then training really started to pick up. And I started to just work my ass off. I started to post more content. And then it was, I don't remember when it was. It was sometime during the winter, though. I was out to eat. And I thought I felt like my phone ringing. Mm-hmm. And I pulled my phone out, and it was nothing, but I had a notification. It was like from Instagram. It was like his tag at the time was like Bruce Wayne 1738. It was Fetty Wap, and it was like, "Yo, bro, you still training people?" And I looked at it, and I put it back in my pocket because I'm like, "The fuck!" Like I'll answer that later, like Bruce Wayne. and then I was like, "Wait, what?" And I pulled it out, and I was like. I stared at my friend across the table from me, like just my mouth was like touching the floor. I was like,
wow.
And he was like, what? And I like couldn't talk. I was like, bro. And I'm like not even showing him the phone. I'm just staring at it. Cause Fetty Wap's my favorite rapper of all time. Like
wow.
When he posted me training him, everybody that I ever played sports with was like, bro, like, you spoke this into existence by annoying the fuck out of us, blasting. I would blast his shit in my Dre beat so loud, the entire bus would hear it. Like,
wow.
they were like, yeah, like to every game, like every practice, I was always listening to Fetty Wap. So I was like, bro, Fetty Wap just asked me to be his trainer.
And was he in Jersey? Was he in Jersey too?
Yeah, because he's from Jersey. We grew up like 35 minutes from each other. He's from Patterson. I'm from North Brunswick. So we're right there. So I was like, yeah, bro, like, of course, I'll train you. So the next day he came to my gym. I was training out of the Muscle Mill in Milltown, New Jersey. And I was like, bro, like, how'd you even find me? He was like, I don't know. He's like, you popped up on my For You page like 2 days in a row, just screaming alone in the gym, like throwing weights and shit. He's like, I just kind of wanted to, he said, I've never been in a weight room in my life. I wanted to be around like that energy.
That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So like, that's probably as a trainer, my most fond moment to like the day I passed. It was, I put him through his first workout ever. And like the dude loved it. Like it changed his life. And then we just became, from that point, like best friends. We just started hanging out every day. And then that's when he asked me to be his bodyguard. He was like, bro, do you want to be my bodyguard so you could just start making more money and we could hang out more? And I was like, yeah, like I don't really know, what I'm doing, but I know how to fight. I have a boxing coach. Like,
I'm big and strong. That's usually a good start, right?
Yeah. So it was kind of cool how that all happened, because he said, like, prior to that, anytime he was trying to work out, somebody would be like, yeah, I got you. Just pay me like 20 grand up front, or like pay me $5K a month. And he's like, bro, like,
right,
this you just want money. Like, that's the first thing you're talking about. He offered to pay me up front, and I was just like, nah, like the first session's on me, and then we'll see how you like it and figure it out. Because that's how I do with anyone. I'm not going to. Why would I treat you like shit because you created the best life for yourself? That makes no sense to me.
Right.
So that's kind of how we started that. And then this was probably 2 years into me, him and I working together at this point. Mm-hmm. And he got booked for a swim week in Miami, which is like the biggest fashion week like in the States, I think. It's like a whole week of like bathing suit models, like runway, all this stuff. So he got booked every single day. So we're in Miami. I think we got done like Saturday, like on a Friday. It was like a Saturday through Friday kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then one of my best friends from New Jersey moved to Davie. So it's like near Miami, Fort Lauderdale. So we're like 40 minutes from Miami. So when Fetty went home, I was like, I'm just going to stay and go hang out with my buddy for the weekend.
Wait. I want to hear about the swimsuit week with you and Fetty. Like, did you guys go nuts for that week? Were you like partying, going crazy? Like,
oh, dude,
what was going on that week?
That probably took like 5 years off my life. Because we didn't get back to the suite until like 7 a.m. the earliest every day.
Oh, man.
But like, that was when I first started with him. So it was literally like me, him, Monty, who's another famous rapper, like his like sidekick kind of thing, Shy, his manager, and like Steve, the videographer, photographer. It's like, it's a tight knit group. Oh, and Wild Bubble is DJ. So there's like 6 of us. So we're just like, I don't even know, man. It was just like we were all, and like he's not the type of dude to be like get out the way. Like, this is my moment. Like, he'll literally, like, he has one verse in one of his songs. It's like where he says like flexing on your ex. And we're in this club in Miami, and it's packed like out the ass. You can't move. Like, there's thousands of people, and like he did like the flexing on your ex, and he flexed and like pointed at me from the stage, and everybody in that thing was like staring at me, and I'm like holding like his like phones and money, and I'm just like smiling at him. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't even know what to do, but like. He would do shit like that all the time and like try and give me all this attention, and
that is great.
Like there like a lot of girls around then, like trying to get in tight with you guys, and like girls trying to get in tight with you guys, in that crowd.
Yeah,
that must have been crazy.
All the time. Yeah, but I mean, like even with that, I had to, be like, nah, like get away, because I can't.
Well, you protect him from some of that stuff too. Like if you're his bodyguard and there girls like trying to get around
off with a chick.
Right.
If you...
Well, even for him, you're protecting him against it too. Who the hell knows what
Yeah,
like groupies
like,
want to do.
In those situations, like there's like women will get in there and like drop a freaking like a roofie or something in his drink and try and get. So it's like for me, it's like I don't unless like he thinks she's the most beautiful girl in the world and he's like, bro, like back the fuck up. I need this. I was not letting anything. And it was new to me, so sometimes I got like a bit much. Like there was a couple times where like I smacked the shit out of a dude or like threw him across the club, like just trying to, if he got too close. But I didn't know, like, I'm thinking like danger, like if they're coming at him with their hands out. But
so if you're partying though, like you kind of have to be on, so you can't go too crazy, boozing or whatever.
Well, he used to make me. He'd be like, nah, bro. He'd be like, come on, like, we're taking this shot. We're having this drink. He's like, I want you to have all the fun. I'd be like, all right, like I will, but the second I'm like buzzed, I'm stopping because I'm not gonna get drunk doing this. I'm not even gonna get buzzed to the point where I'm like impaired at all. But the second I like feel it, I'm I can't let some shit happen to you because it's.
That sounds like fun though. You must have had a effing blast doing that.
Yeah, like now I won't do like the parties and stuff, but in the beginning, like those first 2 years or so, it was just like. And anything you could have imagined it would be like any video you've seen, any like documentary on like a band or rap, like whoever it was that. Like it was just the most insane time of my life.
Let me ask you a question, Dillon. So when you get hired as a bodyguard and you're like, well, geez, I know I'm big and strong, but what do I do as a bodyguard? Did you like Google, like, what is it? What am I supposed to do as a bodyguard? Is there like a bodyguard organization? Like, how do you learn the ins and outs of being a bodyguard when you've never done it before?
I mean, I was a bouncer for 8 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and at the time it was like one of my best friends, his now wife, her dad owned the bar. So like we all took it like, it was fun as hell, like working with your friends, but we all took it like super serious. Like, we have respect for her and her father. We're not going to let anything happen. So I feel like being a bouncer for that long, though it's, like you're a freaking bouncer. Like that's like the smallest scale of security or anything. But, you're dealing with drunk people, you're fighting, you're dealing with things of that nature. You're throwing people out, you're protecting things. So it definitely prepped me for that, as much as it could have, to where I didn't really think outside of just being more aware, I would say. That's like the one thing. Like you need, when you're doing that kind of security bodyguard work for these guys, like you just have to be more aware and you kind of have to like see things before they happen.
Yeah, like I'm thinking Secret Service, right? Like, that guy doesn't look right over there. I gotta keep my eye on that guy. Right? Like that kind of stuff. Yeah,
so
right?
I will do stuff like that. Like you could kind of notice people's demeanors. Like I'm pretty good at that now. I haven't done it for almost 6 years, but I would just usually carry like I had a pretty big knife, and then the back end, like you could literally just tap glass like that and the whole thing would shatter. So it was kind of like a double, I had to pull it a couple times on people. But I never had to use it, obviously, thank God. But it was.
I have a question. I have a good question for you. So I was thinking about this. I was watching some show on TV. It's Paradise. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on, I don't know if it's Hulu or whatever. It was a really good show. So the guy was a bodyguard. And like, you're a bodyguard. Like, you're taking a bullet for someone, because I'm like, all right, so if it's for the president, I'm taking a bullet. But that's like, is it your job to jump in front of something to protect who you're protecting? That's like a serious thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to make that decision. Like if you see something coming, or if someone looks like they're gonna do something, like you have to get in front of that.
I mean, I kind of looked at it like this. Like it's more so I'm in front of him anyways, so I'm already there, and I'm not gonna move out of the way. Like I might not just like, but I was probably trying to turn and, get us out of the way. But, yeah, I mean, I've seen people get shot and killed on tour. None of it's ever had to do with us, like, ever.
You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people get murdered, like, on the streets. And
oh, my God.
Was it like a transaction going bad, or was it like a,
one was a drive-by in New Orleans. Another was Salt Lake City. Someone got shot. I saw like three or four. The first time is like, you're like, oh, but honestly, after the first time, it was just kind of like, oh, like I just I gotta like get covered and stuff. But
jeez.
So you hear gunshots, you're looking around, you ducking out of the way with your,
Yeah, so we have a really his DJ Ron. He's like big. He's the most like big rapper DJ on social media, huge following. And we were at one of his after parties, and someone got shot in the hallway, one of the securities. So it ends up pouring into the main event, like the dudes with the gun and shit, and like the guy's limping, his legs gushing blood. And naturally I found myself like, I was like to Ron, I was like, just get on my right side, like get behind me, we'll get out. Like, so I feel like I just kind of know to do that, and also too, like I'm usually one of the only white guys, so, and I don't have any what I mean? Like, if something random's going on, I'm not really a part of anything, so I don't think they'd be like, oh, there's the only white guy, Bob. You know what I mean? So if they are behind me, if they are behind me, I might stick out, but like in a good way, because it's like, oh, I don't, it's like if I'm not a part of that, and there's no other white people, there's not going to be any like mistake. If that makes sense.
You feeling nerves at all when you hear that going on around you? You have to have some of it going through you, like, oh shit, like. Someone's bleeding, someone's shooting, someone has a gun, but your instincts take over. Like, all right, let's get out of here. As opposed, that's scary shit.
The first time you feel like kind of frozen and panicked at the same time. It's like you're not really moving, but the inside of you is it's like bouncing off the walls. But after seeing it, it's kind of just like, well, I mean, you feel terrible for the people involved, but also no one in our group moves that way, so we'll never be in an interaction like that. So it's, you're kind of, you never really look at it, oh, like, what if that was me? Because we're not in any, like, illegal activity or anything like that.
You got to stay away from the stray bullets. Like, you don't want to be collateral damage either, so you got to watch out for that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Fetty now, but now you're the bodyguard for Kevin Gates. So... right? Or are you talking about Kevin now?
That's where I was getting at with the swim week thing. When I said I met up with my best friend.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy how this worked. Like, we were, I think swim week ended on like a Thursday. It was like the Saturday through Thursday. I know I said Friday, but I remember being with my buddy for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. So I think I got to him on a Thursday, and then Friday we were going out, having a time. Like, we were staying out all night. Just that, like, that's my boy. Like, we had to catch up in the biggest way. Mm-hmm. So I was supposed to leave Saturday, and my flight kept getting pushed back because I had like a pro-am basketball game in this league I played in. So I wanted to fly home to play in it because we were in the playoffs, and my flight kept getting delayed. And by the third time, I wasn't going to make it home for the game. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, like, now it's Saturday early afternoon, it's like Saturday late morning. I was like, I'm just going to fly home Monday. Like, let's just keep hanging out because I'm not going to make the game now anyways. Mm-hmm. So we end up going out all night. And then it's like 5 a.m. and my buddy's like, dude, I gotta eat. Like, let's go to this spot, this club that has like these wings that I like. So I was like, all right, like, I'm down to keep hanging out. And I'm like sitting there in a chair like this in the club, like just like literally staring at the floor. I'm just so like
done,
defeated. And one of Kevin Gates' songs comes on. And like two of the waitresses or bottle girls, whatever they were, I'm staring at the floor still. They walked right in front of me and they're like, "Oh my God, that's him over there." Like they were saying it to each other. And I look up and I see Kevin like straight across the club from me. Like we're direct. And I'm like, I was probably falling asleep. So I like stand up. I'm like staring at the dude because I've never seen him in person before.
Yeah.
And he sees me staring at him. So like when he looked at me, I just like went like that, and then I looked back and I watched him turn his head back to me. So like we're staring at each other, and then I like smiled, and then the people I was with was like, "Bro, just go talk to him." And then I remembered Fetty was actually opening for Kevin at a show like 2 months after that at this time.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, like I'll go tell him that, because then it's not weird. Like I can be like, oh, like I'm Fetty's bodyguard. Like I'll see you in a few months. Like, I just wanted to say what's up.
Yep.
So I go, and he has like a full section. There's like literally like 20 women in his section, and he was like asking one of the guys, like waiters or some shit, for like a bottle of tequila, and I'm like kind of standing like, you know, kind of next to him, just waiting for him to stop talking so I can introduce myself. And he turned and like grabbed me by the neck and like put his head into mine and just started hugging me. He was like, "What's up, brother?" And then like I'm like hugging him now. I'm like, "What's up, bro?" So we just, it was weird. We just like didn't even like introduce ourselves and just started talking. And then he was like, "I feel your energy." He's like, "You're one of my brothers." He's like, and then he cleared out his entire section, told everyone to leave, and we sat down and like hung out till like 7 a.m.
Wow.
It was the wildest thing. And then obviously I was telling about Fetty and stuff, but at that point I had no interest in bodyguarding for anybody but Fetty, because I could rationalize being in some shit for my best friend. You know, Fetty's like one of my closest friends. But trainer, I love to train people. I'm trying to train everything I do. I want to do at like the highest level. So if I could train a celebrity, actor, actress, like I want to do that. So I offered him my training, and then we exchanged numbers. And then a week, when was it?
Are you in Jersey, Dillon, at this point? Or are you in California?
Miami.
No, but I mean, where were you living at that point?
I was living in Jersey.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because this is when I'm like with Fetty now. I'd been back from Mass for like a year now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I go home, and then me and Fetty start training and shit again. And then it's like, I want to say it's like later in the week, like a Wednesday or Thursday. Fetty FaceTimes me. He's like, "Yo, come over." It's like 10 a.m. He's like, "Come over, let's work out." He's like, "My parole officer called me though. I just got to run over and to the office and like see what's up." So I get to his apartment, and I'm sitting there for like 3 hours, and I'm not hearing anything from him. So like I'm kind of like, you know, I'm just sitting there, and then I go on my phone, and someone like TMZ or something reported like, you know, Fetty Wap's been arrested, like he's been brought, like he broke, his bond got broken, he's back in. So I'm like, shit. Now I kind of feel like, because this is the first, like he was out on bond. He wasn't supposed to go to jail for like another like half a year. Like he had like a lot of time before he was supposed to go in.
Yeah.
I don't even know why that happened, but now it's like, this is the first time someone really close to me has ever went to jail, you know, like for a real time, not just like some drunk, stupid shit where you get out that night. Like, you know, he was locked up. And then also like now I lose another career that I made it to the absolute top at, you know, not thinking selfishly, but that's just what's going through me, you know, my emotions.
Yep.
And then I'm just like, damn, dude. So I go through like the same spiral, like super depressed again, which I shouldn't have, because at this point now, like my training was through the roof. Like everyone in New Jersey wanted me to be their trainer after they saw I was with him. So I'm doing great, best I ever was in my life financially, and you know I should have been happy, but like one of my best friends.
He's your buddy
now for like 6 years.
Yep.
So I'm like spiraling again. I'm just like, I forget what I did. I went to the gym at like 5 a.m. the day after just to like do a lot of cardio. Like I just wanted to like clear my head and everything. Then I went to like my favorite breakfast spot down the street from my house, and I didn't really know who to talk to about it, so I texted Kevin. I was like, hey bro, like I don't know if rappers are friends or talk or whatever. So I was just like, hey bro, did like you hear about Fetty? He was like, nah, what happened? I was like, he got freaking locked up. Like they're saying it could be like a life sentence at that point.
Oh wow.
And he was like, man, like he was like, I'm so sorry. And then he just texted me this random number. And I was like, what's that? He was like, my manager. I was like, oh, like what's that for? He's like, well, we're going on tour in 8 days. Like, you're coming. I want you as my bodyguard. So I was like, at that point, I was like, I was happy, but I couldn't feel happy. I was just like,
yeah,
like I guess more so like relieved, but also like, I'm still upset about Fetty, but it's like, I got another chance to do something like I want to do at like a high level again. So like Kevin kind of, Kevin and Fetty are like two dudes that changed my life more than anyone, because they gave me like another chance at life. You know what I mean? If I would have never met them after the whole football thing ended, I don't even think like I would have pursued anything, bodybuilding, acting, like nothing. I probably would have just been working some 9 to 5, which there's nothing wrong with, but that was never in my plan. But just some job I hated, not doing anything worth anything. So that was kind of how that all transpired.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right, you can't be Fetty's bodyguard when he's in jail, but you can still be his friend, right? So that wasn't stopping.
We talk all the time. Yeah, I just talked to him this Saturday for a couple hours. So it's,
Yeah. All right. So, and by the way, I saw the pictures of you training with Kevin. He's a big man too.
That dude is a monster. He's like 6'3", 230, but like just like solid. You know what I mean? Just like head to toe, like a solid dude. Like everything's just like big ass chest. Like he's just like.
And he's always been that way as a performer. Like that's always been important to him, getting in shape. Or no?
No, Dillon got him that way.
You got him like that.
Dillon got him that way.
Nah, I wish, man.
Come on. We set you up.
That would be a nice claim to fame. I'd probably be doing a lot more numbers training wise, but I'm not his trainer. We're workout partners on tour. Like we'll go to the gym together and stuff. But you guys probably haven't heard this story, but he was like 310 pounds, I think. And he was at he was at a family party, and he was shirtless, and somebody in his family had just had a baby. Yeah. And they passed him the baby to hold the baby, and the baby tried to suck his nipple.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So he was like, man, fuck that. Like, I got tits so big, the kid thought I was about to breastfeed it. So once that happened, like, he literally started his fitness journey that day. Stopped drinking. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He fasts. He doesn't eat any bullshit. Like, that dude is a freak of nature too. Like he's the most flexible human being I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
For being that big, he's done some shit where like no bullshit, like I tried to do it and I almost tore something in my leg. Like I felt like it was like he's just like I don't even think he's a human, to be honest. Like if aliens are real, he's one of them, because that dude is just
so insane. Does he live in California or does he live somewhere else?
Yeah, he's out
does.
Here. You know what's crazy about that? Before Fetty got arrested, he was about to purchase a mansion in like the Fort Lauderdale area.
Yeah.
And he found an apartment complex right next to him. He was like, yo, when I move, I'm going to buy you one of these apartments so you could just live next to me and we'll just hang out and, do our shit. So I was like, all right. So, because he was offering to get me a $4,000 apartment in his like building where he had a penthouse where he was paying like $9,000 a month. Wow. So I was just like, bro, like save your money. Like if you need me, I'll be there. You know, like we can make it work in a, you know, more reasonable way. But the Florida thing, I was actually committed to, but then I ended up moving out here. Kevin was still in Atlanta, and then Kevin ended up moving out here like last year.
Okay.
So he's up in LA County. I'm in Orange County, but we're just like an hour apart. About.
Got it. You mentioned that. So how did you get the nickname Scutty? Like, what's the origin story there?
I don't even know. It was.
How long ago did you get that nickname?
It was like 2015. Me and like three of my boys
that long ago.
Out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And you don't know how you came about?
Well, yes and no. Like me and a couple of my buddies went out to a bunch of bars down the Jersey Shore one night.
Yeah.
And we were laughing about something, like crying in tears, laughing. And I was trying to say something, and I kept saying like Scutty. And then they all started calling me that. And then the next day they were like, yo, you should change that to like your Instagram or like make it like your thing. So I was like, all right, like fuck. And then it just like it's stuck. Now I probably haven't been called Dillon. Even my mom says like Scutty now. It's like,
wow, that is such a cool thing, right? Like just some random night, and then all of a sudden that's your nickname, and it's served you well for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, super random.
So, how do you get on to Running Point on Netflix? How did that whole thing happen?
So, this was years ago. One of my best friends. Probably at this point, I've said I've had like 30 best friends.
That's all right. That's all right.
I do have like, I have like no friends, but then I have like a literal group of like 8 to 10 like best friends. You know what I mean? Like that's just like, that's my guys. My couple of my best friends are girls. Like that's like, you know, that's my crew. Yep. But one of like my best friends, my buddy Matty Staines, he's a professional stuntman.
Oh.
So he's cool as shit. He was my backup tight end in high school, and he was just like, he's like one of the best dudes I ever met. He's actually out here right now in LA applying to some police jobs. So he just moved to Jersey. So I'm hoping he gets one so we can hang out more, but I'm going to be seeing him like today or tomorrow. But anyways, he started to produce like these small films years ago, and he asked me to be in a couple of them. And I just loved it. I was like, man, like, like everyone's always like, oh, I'd love to act, but like really have no intention to. It's just kind of one of those things. Mm-hmm. And I found it to be harder than I thought it would be. Like I was one of those people who were like, oh, well, you just act, you know, it's like, you know, but it's not easy. But I really loved it. And I had so much fun learning how to be decent at things. Mm-hmm. I've always kind of kept up with it. And even in like Boston, I was signed to one of the top like modeling agencies, but they also did like commercials and stuff. Yeah. So I always kind of stuck with it until COVID. You had to be vaccinated to get any of the gigs. So they ended up terminating my contract just because I never got the shot. Yeah. But I kept doing like small things here and there. And then when I moved to California, some company found me. And it was like a third party. So like what they'll do is like brands will send them stuff, and then they need like someone to make a commercial. So I would have to like drive somewhere and meet them. And every one I think I did about 5 like ads for them. They said every ad I did, the company made like their highest margins in sales from the ad.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and like each gig was like $300, and they only took like an hour tops. So like I was really like enjoying it, and then I started to find more outlets to be on. Like I'm in some like huge creators' YouTube channels and stuff, acting a little bit. So it hasn't been anything insane, but it's something I've always kind of done at like my own pace. I haven't really went all in on it, but I've also kind of been back and forth. Mm-hmm. So with Running Point, I just saw that I'm in like multiple communities for the acting, stuntman, you know, like all that kind of stuff. So I saw that, and then it was just called like Basketball Project. I didn't even know who was going to be.
Oh, that's it. That's all they said.
Yeah. So, I got there for that. I would have been in the whole seat, like, you know, for anyone that hasn't watched it, obviously wouldn't notice me. I had a big ass beard and shit, but I was in the first like real scene where Chet Hanks, that's Tom Hanks' son, he's like rapping to me in the locker room. I was supposed to be in the whole season, but I had to leave set day 2 because we had to go to Vegas for like 4 days for Kevin. He had a show. So as an extra, especially something where it's like you're on like the team in the show, like I had to be seen at every scene. Like you can't go and come back. And they weren't even supposed to use my scene, but they said like the energy was so good and like Chet and I were just like vibing that they kept it in there. So that was a blessing because like I said, I was a specialty extra for that. So I got a credit towards my SAG card. But yeah, I mean, I've applied to like so many other roles that I haven't got, but I still, you know, even like yesterday I applied to something, you know, it's something I try and do every day.
So if you didn't have to leave there, how long was the filming for that show? Would you have had to be there for months or weeks? Like, what was the filming for the basketball? Because I watched the whole thing. I love that. I love Running Point. Like,
yeah, no, I watched it too.
I think I told you. I feel like it's like Ted Lasso for basketball. You know, like a good vibe, right? So I watched it. I loved it. My wife loved it too. And I'm just wondering, like, some of the other basketball extras, like, how long of a gig is it? If you're in it the whole way, is it? Do you know?
It's months because like my issue with my scheduling was like you go and then they'll be like, all right, well, we need you back, like, you know, say it was like July, then they'll say like between July 13th and 18th, but that doesn't mean you're there for those days. That means that you might get called in on the 15th only, you know, but they leave that time frame open. So unfortunately it fell under my trip, but that's kind of why it takes so long, because it's like kind of blocked out like that, and it could be like, oh, well, we don't need these guys until, you know,
but you got to be ready to go. That's tough, right?
How was the set? How was it to be on set with like these actors like Kate Hudson and like, you know, there's a Chet Hanks and like is there a lot of standing around and then you just as action you're filming? Are you filming a lot and they're only using a little bit? Like, what's going on there? Is anybody a pain in the ass diva where they're like, oh shit, here they come. We got to watch, you know, like it's got to be cool to be on set. Can you tell us a little about how it is to be on set?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy being on set and then seeing it like on TV. Because how you're watching it, you're like, oh shit, like that camera was right there. You know, like that's a big ass camera that a dude's like kind of driving, like seated on and like moving. It's like how you see all that is crazy.
Because we don't see that on TV. You know, right? And you're seeing all the behind the scenes stuff. That's
the craziest thing though with that is like how it's all warehouses essentially, and then you walk into one room and it's like, oh shit, I'm in a basketball arena, and then you go through another door and it's like a little like cafe. Like that to me, that was the coolest shit because like you never know what you're about to see when you're on set or like where you're going. On that one, nobody was a diva. Like everyone was having a lot of fun. I'm freaking pissed that I had to get off set though, because I didn't know. I don't know if you guys ever watched New Girl.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that guy, right? The one that's her love interest. Yeah.
He was Schmidt on New Girl. I fucking love Schmidt, and when I didn't know he wasn't there for when I filmed. So like when I saw he was on the show, I was like, come on, dog. I would have loved to have like just talked to him a little bit, you know.
Well, so do you think you'll have a shot in season 2? Like if you want to be in season 2?
I don't know. If it pops up, I'm definitely gonna apply again. What sucked, they reached out to me a lot to be on All American, and I was never able to make that work.
Oh wow. My son used to watch that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of seasons.
A cool one to be on.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I would love the opportunity, like 100%. Anytime you're on Netflix, to any degree, it's an honor. But I'm hoping to get like real roles. You know, I really want to be a part of it.
You know what? But it's got to be, you do so many things, which is awesome, right? But each one takes your time, like takes up time. And if Kevin gives you a call and says, we're going on tour for 2 months, you can't act, right?
The only way I could ever make that make sense is if like, hey, like you're like, if I was like the Chet Hanks in Running Point, like if I got that role, like
you'd have to. Yeah.
You know, you're like, if I was like, what was it, Travis Bug, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, that could either be, you know, like what it is, like, you know, oh, you're on Netflix, you did a good job on the show, or it could like catapult you into another dimension. Like that could be like your big break, you know? So I think in that aspect, I would ask like, hey, bro, like, because Kevin also knows I'm not like he knows I want to do something great with my life, whether it's with bodybuilding or whatever. Like we have those talks. And I think what I do for him is great with my life. Like it's a job that pays me higher than I could have ever imagined. I get to be around someone who's great.
Yep.
Like I think like what people don't understand is like when they see that, they just think like, oh, social media and clout and like shout outs and followers and shit. But the real value comes in going to get coffee with him and just like asking him questions, because I could never act like I had like the toughest day of my life could have been like one of the easiest days for him growing up. Like that dude pulled together the most amazing life out of literally nothing. Like he like the things he had to go through and had to, you know, even a couple years ago still going through some stuff, and just to be where he got, just to be around someone who achieved that and like who I respect so much, like how, like there's things that I could take with me for the rest of my life. There's ways I can better myself through him. I've gotten some crazy opportunities through him. So I don't want to say that it's not for me, because as much as like it is a job and I'm bodyguarding for him, it's just as much for me, because I get so much more out of it than just like clocking in and going home, you know? So
that is great.
Yeah, but you know, and also too, like I wouldn't quit if I was like, hey bro, like I got this huge role, I'm going to be on Netflix, like I got to be locked in for 4 months. Can I please come back the day after it ends? Like, I'm pretty sure he would just allow me to come right back.
All right. So I think we're going to do some kind of quick hit questions for you, and then we can wrap it up. So do you have an embarrassing gym moment that you can think of? Anything stand out?
Not off the top of my, I mean, I've seen people like fly off treadmills. Like that's always fun.
That's funny. I can watch that shit all day on Instagram. I love that.
Yeah, I've seen that happen a couple of times. But I mean, it's funny if they get up and they're all right. But like watching that like happen to me is next to none. That's hilarious.
That's
do you remember? So a couple years ago, I was at like a local gym, and there was a guy that like older guy. He was like in his late 70s. He should not have been on a treadmill, and he fell.
I mean, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, but it is kind of funny.
He should never have been on the treadmill. What's your? It sounds like now you're watching what you eat, right? Not drinking, all that. But if you do have to have like a cheat meal, what's your favorite cheat meal?
I'm kind of lucky right now. Like I'm 14 weeks out of my competition. So if I win, I go pro for bodybuilding. But right now I'm kind of ahead of my prep. So I get a cheat meal every now and then. And it's always a burger and fries. So that is my favorite. Like my coach picks it for me, but I actually get one today. So I'm going to go to In-N-Out. But
okay. Is that your favorite burger? An In-N-Out burger?
I think Five Guys.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but In-N-Out's it's way cheaper.
That's for
close. Because my order at Five Guys is usually like $50. In-N-Out, I can get it for like 20.
There you go.
Can I ask you a question? So you're talking about going pro. Does that mean you get like paid for? So where you are now with your competitions, what changes if you go pro?
So once you go pro, you don't have to pay to enter any shows.
Okay.
ever again. So that's like my first. I've only done one competition so far. I won it, so it qualified me for nationals. But nationals, I'm still an amateur, so I have to pay for that. But if I win, which I'm hoping I do, then I go pro. So any show after that, I don't have to pay to submit in. But not every pro show pays. Like the main goal would be to win. I think it's 2 pro shows, and then you qualify for the Olympia. And then that's big time payout when you win the Olympia. But there's other pro shows that pay like real good money. You just have to qualify for them, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm thinking also sponsorships, right? Like if you're a known entity in that world, you're probably making a lot of money, right, with sponsorships.
Yeah, like even me being an amateur, just through social media, having like decent followings, I have like some real good sponsors that pay me monthly, so I make like a good yearly salary combined. But when I was with this old company, Enhanced Labs, we had signed Big Ramy. So he won 2 back-to-back Mr. Olympias, which right now, if you win the men's open, you get paid $500,000 for winning that.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So he won 2 in a row, and then we signed him to I think they were paying him like $40,000 a month.
Jeez.
So there's money in fitness, man. I mean, you gotta unfortunately damn near go broke getting into it. Like I spend like $1,000 a month almost on food, but
wow.
I think once you get, if it's what you love, you're gonna do it anyways. So why not do it?
Now you can do that. The Bodyguard doesn't get in the way of that.
No, I got a Wolfpack backpack. It's like a company that's specifically for meal prep, and I just pack all my meals. Like I'll have like a backpack full of chicken, rice, ground turkey, ground beef. I just bring it with me.
Now you say you is there fasting somewhere in there too? Will you
right before the competition, right?
Is that like a stop eating and just have liquid fast, or is that
opposite? You eat but you don't drink anything. Like I stopped drinking. So if I compete on a Saturday, I'll stop drinking any water at like 6 p.m. Friday night, and then I think the entire day of my show I was only allowed like 4 ounces of water.
Is that because you look cut up more? Because there's no fluid in your body? Is that why? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And I didn't take any like steroids or diuretics. So like diuretics are what makes you piss everything out. So we had to like do a little extra by really not like drinking anything at all, so I could make sure.
So I asked you this when we were talking the other day. I like this question. So you're doing a lot of shit, right? And your resilience with all of the things that have happened, it's pretty incredible. So if you could write your own script, what will you be doing when you turn 40 years old?
When I'm 40, I think by then I'd hope to be, married to my girlfriend now, and we got these 2 dope dogs that I love. They're the coolest. I plan on training forever regardless. Like, so, I'll train Fetty Wap forever. I'll bodyguard for Kevin and Fetty until they decide to retire on their own. But for myself as well, I'll hopefully still be bodybuilding or just finishing up my career, depending on what my success is by that time. But I would like to be done with bodybuilding competitively by 40. It would be cool by 40 to own my own gym.
Mm-hmm.
I have some other stuff I wanted to do. I wanted to start my own energy drink, maybe like a food prep company. I don't know as much about the food prep, but the energy drink would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And really just have my online brand grown to where it's kind of running itself, with my online training programs and my apparel that I have, all that stuff. And definitely have competed in a couple Mr. Olympias by 40. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And I would love to be successful enough in acting by that point to where could be my like main job, it's tough because it's like, you want to stop and do and put everything into like one thing, but I love all these other things so much. And fortunately, they do intertwine a bit. Like, bodyguarding, you have to be big. Bodybuilding, you have to be big. The acting roles I get, I want them to be tailored to my physique mainly. So, like, I got to be big for that. So, I found a way to kind of intertwine them enough to make it make sense and not have to drop anything. But, yeah, I mean, I would just love to have, like, a nice house, family, kids, and be
West
successful.
Coast, East Coast, or both?
I really want a house in Manasquan, New Jersey. That's, like, my, like, end all, like, right on the water. That's my goal. And then the apartment in Florida, because when Fetty gets out, I think we're still doing that. And then, I mean, shit, I would love to have an apartment out in California, too. That's like the perfect world. If I could have a spot in all three, that's like, I did it,
Well, listen, if I'm a betting man, based on what you've done so far, I'm betting you might have all that when you're 40.
And listen, when you get your big shot, because it's going to happen for you, because you're resilient, and you're a fighter. Don't forget, Johnny Mac and Ricky G. Maybe you invite us to the screening. We'll fly out. And we'll come and see you, because it's going to happen.
That's for sure.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we'll have to have a follow-up episode on one of these things.
Absolutely. So, not that you need this because you've got a gazillion followers, but we'll share whatever links you want to share. Anything coming up that you want to promote or shout out?
I mean, if anyone watching this, any athletes or just anyone in general needs a trainer, no matter where you are in the world, I have my online training. It's personal. I give everyone my personal email, so I'm the one doing everything. You're always in contact, so I definitely love taking pride in transforming people's bodies. That's just my thing. Outside of that, I mean, I think we're going on tour for Kevin again in October or something. So if we got any Kevin Gates fans, check that out. Get some tickets.
There you go.
Yeah,
just keep an arm's length. If you get close, just keep an arm's length from him, right? That's what you got to tell everybody.
Yeah, just smile and wave. Yeah, that's really it, though.
Dillon, thank you or Scutty, thank you so much for coming on the show. Great hearing your story. Looking forward to the next chapter.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. As we always end, Ricky?
We'll see you.